What I'd like to demonstrate in this webcast is a tool that Red Hat provides named Convert2RHEL. What Convert2RHEL does is it allows you to take existing Linux operating systems such as CentOS or Oracle and perform an in-place conversion where it turns that old operating system into a Red Hat Enterprise Linux operating system. In this demonstration, I'm going to leverage a couple Red Hat tools. The first tool I'm going to use is Red Hat Satellite to simply show you the systems that are out in my environment. And then I'm going to jump over into Ansible Automation Platform, where I'm going to break it down into 3 steps. The first step is I want to perform a backup on those servers to make sure that if I need to at a later point in time, I can roll back and change back to the original operating system. The second step is I'm going to update the CentOS servers so that they have the latest version of CentOS. And then I'm going to run the Convert2RHEL tool, which is going to take those CentOS boxes and convert them to Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Before I begin my host migration, I wanted to show you, first of all, Red Hat Satellite and the contents that it provides or the information it conveys. And specifically, I want to look at the hosts that are defined inside of Red Hat Satellite. And what you'll see is that I currently have 5 hosts, 2 of which are CentOS machines and 3 of which are Red Hat Enterprise Linux machines. And next I'd like to show you what we have inside of Ansible Tower. Specifically, I have a project that I've created in Ansible Tower called Automated Management. And if I look at that particular project, you'll notice that it points to a GitHub repository, which is where all of the playbooks are going to be found that we're using in this demonstration. These playbooks are going to be used to do things like upgrade a CentOS to the latest version and then run the Convert2RHEL tool to migrate it into Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So basically what that implies is that if you wanted to do this back at your location, you could leverage this GitHub repository and utilize the exact same playbooks that I'm running today. In addition to those playbooks, I have some inventories that I wanted to show you. Specifically, I have this workshop inventory, which if I look at the hosts that are defined, you can see that I've got the 5 hosts, 3 of which are running Red Hat Enterprise Linux, and 2 of which are running CentOS. The next step in the process is prior to actually converting the CentOS machines to RHEL, I'd like to take a snapshot of those servers so that if I want to roll them back to their original state at a later point in time, I can. And in order to do that, I have a template that I've created that is called Convert2RHEL Take Node Snapshot. If I look at that particular template, you'll notice that it uses a playbook called snapshot_instance.yaml. And that particular playbook looks like this. It has a task, basically has one task called take a snapshot of instances in the region. And in this case, it's using the EC2 region. And it has a role that it leverages in order to do that snapshot. So we'll go back into Ansible and let's launch this snapshot creator. And again, this job is going to take probably several minutes to create that snapshot, and I will return to this particular job when it finishes. So we can see that the playbook is now finished running, and that means we've now taken a snapshot of the various nodes. The next step in our process is I need to be able to query the EC2 instance information from Satellite and import that into my Ansible Tower implementation. And the playbook that's used to do that is query satellite resource info hosts set instance tags. So I'm going to launch this playbook. And again, it's going to go off and communicate with Red Hat Satellite, which is the tool that's now managing all of these nodes. And it's going to return that information back into the system. Now that I have the instant tags returned from Satellite and the EC2 instances, the next thing I need to do is update my local inventories to understand which boxes are part of the CentOS pool of boxes. So for example, if I look at these inventories and I look at the CentOS development under hosts, you'll see that no hosts are defined. But I just so happen to have a template which will give that information to me. And if I look at this particular template, you'll see that it leverages the tower inventory source update YAML file. I'm going to go ahead and launch the template, and I'm going to pick CentOS 7 as the inventory to update. And in this case, I want the development nodes for CentOS 7. Again, this job is going to go off. It's going to go into Red Hat Satellite, and it's going to pull information back. And when that completes, I should be able to go back into my inventories environment and look at the hosts and see that there are in fact now 2 host machines which I pulled from Satellite, and it gives all of the information about those host machines. Now that I know exactly which machines make up the CentOS machines, the next step in this process is I want to upgrade those servers to the latest release of CentOS. And again, I have a template that can be used to do that. And if I look at this template, you see that it uses the upgrade_instance.yaml file as the playbook. Let's go ahead and launch this playbook. And this playbook will actually take a little bit of time to complete, so I'll come back when it's finished. So you can see that the script is now finished. It has upgraded the 2 CentOS nodes to the latest version, and it's also rebooted those particular machines. The last step in our process is, now that we've upgraded them to the latest version, is let's go ahead and convert those 2 nodes to RHEL. And again, we have a playbook called C2R.YAML, so Convert2RHEL, and that playbook is going to point to all of my inventory, and I simply launch it. And in this case, I'm going to convert from CentOS Dev to RHEL 7. And again, this script is going to take a few minutes, so I will return when it finishes. Now that this playbook is finished running, the last step in our scenario is to go back into Red Hat Satellite and look at the hosts. So if we go back in, go to the All Hosts tab, and refresh that screen, boom. Those 2 nodes, node 4 and 5, now are running Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. If you have any questions, or if you'd like to know more, reach out to your Red Hat sales representative. If you'd like to learn more about the Convert2RHEL tool, go to www.redhat.com and do a search on Convert2RHEL. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it useful.